It's such an honor to actually be talking to a true artist, a person whose music I've been listening to whilst growing up, someone who is a hero of Handsworth in Birmingham, and being a Handsworth boy myself, B21, it's absolutely an honor to talk to the one and only Apache Indian. How are you, buddy? Welcome to
I'm all right, thank you. Thank you very, very much. It's always nice to speak to a brother from Handsworth, from Birmingham. But yeah, big up. Great to be with you, and great to be with all the listeners and the fans out there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on BizAsia. So let's just get straight into it. Buddy, it's been like, I'm 31 years old, and ever since I remember growing up like on Soho Road, and you know, my dad's business used to be on Soho Road. So we used to see you quite regularly interacting with the community, and not just as an artist, but as a community activist as well. You've been in the industry for what, over 30 years now. How has that journey from Stephen Kapoor to Apache Indian been?
I mean, thank you very much, first of all. I mean, if you're 31 years old, I've been in the music business 30 years. And so before that, your fathers and your family, I knew before you was born,
yes,
right? So,
yes.
So that, and they inspired me to do what I'm doing, because they were the community leaders. We used to look up to them, and this is what's missing in the community. They inspired me to do what I'm doing today, in the community, because they were always active. They were always trying to share and care. We didn't have the internet then, so you had to speak to people. You had to go out and meet, and it doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing, or they were there on the front line for years. So big respect to, all your family and all the people that did that back in the day. And, with the newspapers, because newspapers were the news. You couldn't read it on the phone. You couldn't watch it on the TV, especially, news from our own culture and stuff, you know what I mean? So, and different languages, because obviously the parents, some of them couldn't speak. So we had these different languages, different newspapers, sharing and caring. And my journey came from that. Stephen Kapoor brought up and born and raised in Birmingham. What people have to understand, that my parents came from Jalandhar, Punjab, back in the 60s. They settled in Handsworth, Holly Road, opposite the park. And they went to work. We didn't go to school till we were 5 years old, because there was no nurseries really. And they went to work, and they dropped me off to the nanny next door for 5 years, for 8 hours a day. And the nanny was Jamaican.
Wow. Okay.
So these are early influences from Handsworth, from the Windrush generation. And also it shows me that my parents obviously didn't have any problems with the black community, the black people, because look where I was. But that impacted my, it wasn't just about music later, understanding of culture. I'm in a Jamaican household, where music, language, culture, sound, smells, whatever it may be, Jamaican food, music, I'm hearing things. So I picked it up from there. Obviously, you learn everything in the first 5 years. When I used to go home, we used to be Punjabi and everything else, and all the culture that we all know about. So what did I do with my music? I celebrated that culture, that multiculture. I celebrated being British. Hence, you saw songs like Arranged Marriage in the charts, in the British charts. So I'm proud to be British. I'm proud of where I'm coming from. I'm proud to be Indian. As soon as I released my first song, Movie of India, Chuck There Down, look at the subjects, Indian. Look at my name, Indian, Apache Indian. Look at the language I'm trying to use, Punjabi. I'm not even the greatest speaker, but I said, Kariye kush, let's put it in there. It wasn't, you can't just come with a regular. So my music is particular to Handsworth, it's particular to Birmingham. If my parents went to somewhere else, it probably wouldn't be the same, right? No. This is Birmingham. That's why I wave the flag of Birmingham, wave the flag of diversity and culture. And 30 years, I've spread that around the world. So anytime anyone asks me, Kito, where are you from? First question, Naki ya tera? You know what I mean? Stephen Kapoor and I come from Handsworth, Birmingham. My parents from Jalandhar, sweet like jalebi. And I put everything into my songs. I shared my life, my culture, my language, to a different audience. And we didn't see Asian people really on the TVs and really on the mainstream. And I was happy to be a part of that, because you're standing with your culture, with your personal identity, with your stories and your personal music, sharing it with the world. And then they look into our culture, look into our music, and it brings people together. So the music did so much for to take me around the world. And other people were growing up like that in different parts of the world. So they got inspiration from the music. They got comfort from the music. So it did so much more. It's more than music. It's like a movement for real change and representing identity, culture, and remembering who we are. Bello Galla, who we are, take the culture with you and show it off to the world. I celebrate life through music and share it.
See,
So it comes from Handsworth.
it may sound weird to yourself and me, but there may be people who won't understand what Handsworth was. But Handsworth was like the center of Punjab in not only Birmingham but all across the UK, really. So a lot of Punjabis, but a lot of Afro-Caribbean, Jamaican communities, and we lived very close side by side. They would join into we had one of the largest Vaisakhi celebrations in Handsworth.
That's right. That's
and
right.
they
Yeah.
have one of the largest carnivals outside London,
Yeah.
in Birmingham and Handsworth. So when we grew up listening to your music, it was something that really spoke to us because we're Punjabi, but we had teachers from the Windrush generation who spoke to us in Patwa.
Yeah.
So listening to your music and understanding, it was basically an amalgamation of Handsworth, really, just your music. But growing up in Handsworth, you must have seen, you've talked about the good stuff, about the diversity in the communities, but the negative sides, the Handsworth riots, for example, you must have lived through that. You must have seen that all firsthand. How did that then influence your music and what message you're trying to spread?
Yeah, I mean, very, very good question. You know, obviously we did face problems back in the day, and, you know, still up to this day. Handsworth riots was terrible. I was there, and I was, you know, I mean, it was my era, 1995, and it's a shame. The shame thing was, yes, there was, you know, there was unrest in the community anyway. There were things going on, but when things like that happen, people say it was a racist thing. It was between the Asians and the Gali and the blacks, and it's not good to say that. And then that you know, that just paints us with that same brush, and then people don't look at the good stuff. So yes, there's been problems like anybody else. Communities have problems. What I always say to people, what I do is I come halfway. I want to understand that neighbor. I want to understand those people because I see them every day. You know, I got involved with the Rasta movement. I looked at the Rasta friends because I love reggae music. Their philosophy is one love, all people, and one God for all. And Sikhism is the same. Punjabi is the same. We love all people. It's about seva. It's about caring. It's about unity. So how you know, we brought these things together with music because we're singing about the things that we're already going through. I'm not doing anything new. As you know, this is how we're growing up. I'm sharing, I'm caring, I'm looking, I'm learning the languages, I'm mixing it with my own. But yeah, we've had problems, and we have problems to this day about, you know, knife culture, gun culture, gangs, Asian gangs, garlic. I mean, we've got it all. And that's why I work on the front line. That's why I've talked about these things for 30 years, but now I'm doing things. I have my own music academy. I'm sure we'll speak about in a minute, but young kids helping them to talk about those same things, address those things, but don't let those things overshadow the good things and the good work that people have done in Birmingham, like your family and many other families have contributed. Always gets overshadowed by these few things. I'm not brushing it under the carpet, I'm bringing it up, but I want people to understand that Birmingham's a great place. We've got the Commonwealth Games coming here. We've got lots of big, I mean, the second city, maybe one of the biggest cities in Birmingham for diversity, for culture. And like you said, Vaisakhi, Caribbean festivals. No other city does it like us around the world. People look at us around the world and see what we're doing. So we have made a massive impact with music, culture, and we shouldn't stop. It becomes harder because life is hard. But your generation, the next generation that I care about, and still my generation, we live, we learn from each other, but we have to move on together as well because we can't get stuck. The world changed. What are people doing? How have people changed? Sure. If the world's changed, what are you doing today? Generally, that's why I ask people.
I was going to bring you up later on in the interview, but it kind of ties in very nicely with what we just talked about. And because you're an artist that has the influence of South Asian, Bhangra, Hindi music, as well as the Caribbean music, I think you're the right person to lead with this, really. But I'd like to ask you, what made you kind of start the AIM Academy? Like, you're based in Handsworth. For the people who don't know, you've created an academy to bring in the next generation to about music and to express themselves. But what was the actual thinking behind it? What did you hope to achieve?
I can tell you the thinking behind it actually came from my whole life, my whole career. Because if you look at the early things I was saying, you know, even on the first album, I was talking about caste problems, arranged marriage problems, AIDS problems, drinking problems. I've always cared about the community. It was never about, you know, you don't write a song like Arranged Marriage to try to get in the charts. I care. Yeah, this guy cares. Look at the album, No Reservations, Make Way for the Indian, Sadhu the Movement, Time for Change. Even every title of an album, I'm making a statement. So over the years, I actually questioned in my career, okay, God, I've seen the fame, I've seen the money, I've seen the touring, but it wasn't for that. There's something missing, and I didn't know what it was. And I found out. So the blessing came, and it was to give back to the community, to use your name to help people around the world, charities, whatever it may be, and continue on that. Otherwise, you know, so I use now music as a platform, always have, but even more so music as a platform to bring change. Forget about the song for a minute. What are you saying in an interview? What are you representing? So the music is a platform gives me the platform to speak about these things. So basically 7 years ago, I walked into a college in Handsworth, Southern City College, big up, it used to be called Handsworth College.
Handsworth College.
And I walked in there and I said to him, Southern City College actually have 7 campuses across the city. It's the biggest college. It has 22,000 students. Anyway, I walked into the college and I said, can I have it? You know who I am? Can I please have one little room? I want to start like a youth club for the kids, free of charge, every Wednesday. And Wednesday, because Thursday I would fly out and do a show, maybe even in India or Kenya, and I'll come back on the Wednesday. I restructured my whole life. And basically people started walking in, and it wasn't just about music, it was to help my community. We've helped with life skills, help people get back into education. I'm in a college. So, and it was also a way of using our resources. People say, you know, we've got cuts, we've got this cut, we can't do, or the youth clubs have shut down. What about the colleges and schools that we pay for already? They're already there, they're warm, they're nice, they're secure, place of education, they're closed at 6 o'clock. So can I have a room? And so I'm trying to use the resources of the country that we have. And somebody said to me, you know what, these tables and chairs, they belong to your parents. I said, well, how is that? They pay taxes. If you have a better use for them, you tell me. So I started the academy. It's called AIM Academy, AIM, Apache Indian Music Academy. It's set in Handsworth in the college, but it's for anyone that wants to come. So people from the youngest to whatever age have come through. I help them with music. We've actually signed 3 people to international record companies from the academy.
Wow.
Right. So because I've got contacts from Hollywood to Bollywood, 30 years, what they're for? To help people. So literally, you know, music business is tough. Life is tough. We need to help people. We need to, and it's all based on respect and manners and respecting communities and other languages and cultures. Back in the day, we had the Asian communities, the Black communities, the white communities, like you said, Irish communities. Look what we've got now. We've got from Eastern European, we've got from Africa, we've got from all over the world. And this could be tension on the streets if you don't know each other. What brings us together? It's music, it's sport. Otherwise, we get more segregated. You go over there and you listen to your music on that station. And even the stations are not doing enough. Radio stations supposed to reflect the diversity of the community. We're not seeing those changes. And as I said, you know, we have to look at ourselves, we have to look at the kids. And I'm so happy with the academy. And it's been 7 years. We've won many, many awards. Look at the academy page, AIM Music Academy. We have now academy in Holland.
Well, okay, fantastic.
Yeah, so Apache Indian Academy in Holland I set up last year. Again, a place I've been going for 30 years. I have a great team. So we go there and the kids come back and forth, exchange programs. The next one's going to be in India. It's going to be in Pune. I love India. I want to give back to India. So let's get all the young kids there and help them. And it's a movement. It's a movement for change right from the beginning. I'm starting with Handsworth. I take my kids out to shows. I've taken them out to Birmingham. They've never been. And look at what I'm doing. It's not rocket science. I'm not a genius here. We had youth clubs before. We had more community cohesion before. We had so much people in the community trying to help the young generation. Without their help, I wouldn't be here. Without youth clubs, I wouldn't be here. Without people helping me, Black, white, and Asian, I wouldn't be here. Who's helping who now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the world changed. So look out for the academy. I'm going to dedicate my life to it. And I set it up now. I'm releasing music still, but look what I can talk about. I can talk about the academy. It was featured on the BBC One show earlier in the summer. Did you see it?
I did. Yeah.
So again, they came and asked me to do Boom Shakalak 30 years, great big show. I said, why don't you come to the academy? Why don't you come to the community? Why don't you come to the college? We filmed on Soho Road. We made it about the kids, a lot more smiling faces. And that's what you do when you just take that little bit more effort and not make it about yourself.
Yeah. So how does that thinking of helping everyone, getting those influences, how does that translate into your latest project that's out, the album, What's Not to Love? I've been lucky enough to hear a couple of tracks on it, some collaborations from across the world, with artists from across the world. How did this album come about, especially during lockdown and COVID? Everyone's been kind of hidden away, has been keeping themselves to themselves. How did this project come about?
Okay, so basically, I'm always recording music. That's what I do. I'll be working on the album for about 4 years. 3-4 years. In the lockdown, obviously, there's no shows. Nobody after 30 years, we're finding ourselves stuck. We had to close the academy. We had to close down the college, obviously, through the summer. And I was in lockdown for 6 months. So what did I do? You have to be productive. So I went back to the album, accelerated the process of all the recording. Obviously, we can't be in the studio with people, so a lot of things over the airwaves, over the internet and stuff. But people were the same. They were stuck themselves, but we could still work on music. Always look at a positive. If you can't perform, what can you do as an artist? So I finished the album. Very happy with the album. Great collaborations. Hunters, he used to come and help me at the academy.
Yep.
And he's so talented. And he came with this song, and I was always going to work with him. But that song is magic. Big respect to Hunters, the whole family. Ishas V doing some great things in India. But that was an incredible song. Again, that's been 2 years I've had that song. So we just finished the mixing and the mastering. Roach Killer's on the album.
Yep. And
he's produced that song, Look My Way. So I met him for one day in the lockdown and said, Roach, really meeting people just to speak. Let's help each other. And he led to doing a song. That song now has Blitzkrieg, which is a rapper in Toronto, featured on it. Lovely guy, friend for many years, super talented. Also another Indian artist from Toronto, Cat Eyes. So everyone just doing their little parts and sending it back to me and keeping the vibe up of the song without being next to the artist. So that was great song. Look out for that. I wanted to keep the Punjabi flex on the album. So
yeah, of course.
Big up all the Bhangra Massive, and a great collaboration with Binda Bajwa.
Yes.
We had a song with him before called Deri Door, which did, and it's always hard to follow up with a big collaboration, but you have to do it. He sent me a great song, Giddai Vich. Oh, Giddai Vich. I love it. Makes me learn more Punjabi when I listen to it. And it's produced by Gubzy. If you don't know Gubzy is a percussionist from Birmingham. He plays with me all over the world. He plays with Malkeet Singh, and he plays for Shin as well. And look at that. He's been touring since 14 years old, and everybody wants him. And these guys have big international legendary names, the people like Gubzy, they're worldwide recognized. And yet you see them on, just walking around in Soho Road or just doing their normal business. Very humble people, but internationally great names. So look out for that song. Wicked song, one of my favorite songs. There's a song from my heart and soul called Stronger, which is going through difficult times. And it's a new producer, another Asian producer from London called J Productions. Very, so helping new kids as well. There's a young kid, a white kid called John Rogers from the Academy, never had a song released. So he's singing on a reggae song called Together as One. I love this album. I managed to give it 100% of my time because nothing else was going on. I'm going to say it's my favorite album of my career. I'm going to go that far. Wow. And how does it help people? We're uplifting people's spirits. We're promoting names. We're linking cultures and countries from India. There's a very special song from India called Freedom. Hindi vocals from Shilpa. Oh, Shilpa Sharaki, after everybody. All these people are on my Instagram and people can connect, and people have now connected with each other. Also, De Niro Asher, rapper, singer, producer, and Chezin, English vocals from Indian artists from Gurgaon in Delhi. And these songs, the Hunter song has been played in Jamaica, Trip to Jamaica, Montego Bay. So it's already been played in Jamaica. So the music is doing so much, but when people talk to me, I have a lot to say about community culture, life itself. Look at the year we've had. We're trying to keep it positive. Christmas is coming. We missed Diwali. We didn't miss Diwali, but we always have a stage on Soho Road. I don't know whether you know.
Yep.
We have a stage
on Soho Road.
Yeah. The Diwali Mill on Soho Road has been fantastic for the last 2 years. I've had a stage there, AIM Academy. All the kids perform. More kids can perform because it's open mic. Celebrating diversity. Gore Kale, people from all cultures celebrating Diwali because we've got a stage for the world. And it's not just for Asian thing, for Asian people. That's how great Birmingham is. That's how great Handsworth is. And I'm carrying that legacy on. So those people can carry it on after me and after our generations. We have to pass on the torch because we've got lots of work to do yet. So let's work together.
As you've said that the album's got English, Punjabi, Hindi lyrics. You've got artists from Canada, India, and UK all collaborating on this one album. But each kind of region has its own sound. How did you find it trying to create a balance in with giving due respect to all sounds and all vibes, but then still making sure it all gel together?
Very good question. Because you have to get all these. I just make the songs mine. The common thread is myself. I'm obviously featured on every song. but just to get the sound right, get the feel right. We take time in those mixes and the mastering, but if it doesn't feel right, if it just doesn't work with my genre, we don't just put the song out. There's 9 songs on there. They're special, every single one. Every song is special that I've released, but this particular time it's been difficult, like you said, from cross cultures and cross genres in a time where you can't see people. But respect to all the artists. As I said, the world changed. We have to make it work somehow. We've made this album work, and it's my favorite album. It represents everything that I've spoke about. It celebrates life, it celebrates culture, multiculture, and the really good songs. I have to say, I keep saying this, the album's on repeat in the studio. People are really loving it, and it's brought me new fans, new generation. So we're spreading it further. When a person hears a reggae song, then they want to look at the album. Then they all of a sudden listen to a Punjabi song, which they probably wouldn't have heard. So this is what it's doing. Like, you know, one of the biggest reggae stations in Birmingham is Sting FM. And they've been playing all the reggae songs back to back every week, power play. Yesterday, they tweeted, they put on their Instagram, the Giddai Vich with Binda Bajwa.
Wow.
Right? Now, Gubzy's just put that out again, saying, look at Sting FM, the biggest black station, goes out to Jamaica, and they're promoting because they love Giddai Vich. It's a dancehall track, it's a beat, it's a rag of vocals, but the vocal is Punjabi. The only difference is the vocals Punjabi. But if they like it, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It works. They say, wow, so this is something different again. So this is what I'm saying. We're still working on it. We're still breaking down these barriers and taking it further. How many Indian people and Asians in Jamaica? Do you know in Caribbean? There's so many. So it helps with culture, helps with language. And people say, we feel so proud to hear that song on the radio. So big up.
See, I'll be honest with you. I was especially ecstatic when I found out that Apache Indian's new album's coming out, because everyone is aware, 2014, you were received 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. I think the Asian Media Awards and BrizAsia gave you Lifetime Achievement Awards. And that is a way of usually people thinking, right, I've got my Lifetime Achievement Award, time to hang up the boots, time to hang up the microphone, I'm retiring. But to see you back here continuing and pioneering the music industry, it's not only refreshing, but it's amazing to see that you're still taking on the torch, Budgie, because like you've got Roach Killer on the album, but I would personally argue there wouldn't have been a Roach Killer if there wasn't an Apache Indian 30 years ago. It's that same kind of influence. And I'm sure Roach Killer here if he was here, he would agree as well. You're a pioneer in this industry, giving us new experiences. What does the path ahead lie for Apache Indian, professionally and personally? What are the goals that you feel is left to achieve?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very, very much for that. And Lifetime Achievement Awards, I think I've had about 5 or maybe 8. If it means it's celebrating my life, then fine. If it means it's the end of my life, then no, they're wrong. It's the start of a new chapter. You know what I mean? So I'm a big man now. I'm not shit. You know, I'm not just a kid trying to make. I've got, people know who I am. But listen, music's in my system. It's in my blood. It has been. Whether I was rich, famous, whether people like that formula of me, it was just my personal thing. So if it was always personal to me, then I will carry on doing that. But thank you to everyone around the world, because it's been really, really received well. I'm not going to put out music that's not good. But as I said, it's more than music. My drive is life itself, trying to help people. Music gives me the platform to speak about things, to bring change. And obviously music gives me the platform to help. More successful I am now, the more people I'm helping, the bigger my academy becomes. If my song's at #1, more people are going to ask about my academy. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen the riches, I've seen the fame. How famous have I been? It's not all what it's made out to be. It takes a big chunk out of your life away. But God bless, even through this year, when we have no gigs, look at the blessing that God gave me. He gave me the Lynx TV commercial. Have you seen that commercial?
Yes.
So that's been playing every single day, 10 times a day. It's been extended. It's the longest running TV commercial playing reggae music ever, probably. And the reggae boys don't even hear reggae on the national in the national TV every single day, in between the biggest football matches as well. And it's an Indian. It's an Indian art. Look at the blessing. The blessing is that when there's no work and there's no money, God gave me something that gave me money. It brought me income, but it brought me exposure just before my album. It means, these little things mean, because you don't get many TV commercials anyway. But look at the timing of that. Yeah. So it means more than just Apache's got links. But yes, we are on national TV. 5 times a day around the world. And it's great to do that. It's another platform. We was on the BBC One show. We've got a new album coming out this year. So I try to turn the year into something positive. It's been a difficult year for me as well. No income, no nothing. In fact, as a teacher and a musician, both those jobs are on pause. So I'm actually unemployed, Apache Indian unemployed. I'm looking for a job. It just shows that life is like, the world is unpredictable, but we have to help each other. And that's what I've been doing. And that's what keeps me going. My young kids at the academy and bringing the community together. That's what I do.
That's a real blessing because like you said, the Links advert has your music. I've seen films starring Jennifer Aniston, which has got your music in the background. There's been Hollywood, Bollywood, like every single kind of industry there is has taken your music and, you know, accepted it as one of their own. And I don't think there's any bigger compliment than that you see for yourself. But and it makes me extra proud to see someone from Handsworth, you know, rise up from the streets as you did it. And but moving on forward, what is your next project? Is there any more albums coming forward? Are you looking for more collaborations? Is there any artists that you see in maybe in Hollywood or in Bollywood or even the Punjabi industry that you're like, you know what, I like the sound of this banda or I like the sound of her. I want to collaborate. I want to do something special. How you created something special with Malkeet Singh back in the 90s? Is there another Bhangra artist like, right, he's the next person?
There is. And I haven't connected with him. Most of my collaborations have actually been done just by meeting people, not by arranging anything. Did a collaboration with Asha Bosley as well, and Ye Ladka, and A.R. Rahman, and all this. So, yes, greatly accepted right across genres and I really, really feel proud of that. 8 Hollywood movies, Dumb and Dumber 1 and 2. 20 years later, they asked me again. Because everyone really relates that song to, can we have it again? Which is great. This is Hollywood A-list, you know what I mean? So Scooby-Doo 2, yes, Jennifer Aniston, over 100 TV commercials. So if that's coming from Handsworth is a special place. Right? Handsworth is a special place. So I will always give back and support. I will always continue to release music, especially in a time there's no gigs. You know what I mean? There's nothing, we can't go out there. I'm missing the fans. So I might as well keep releasing music. I'm planning to put something else out again in the spring. I don't think the markets are going to open up till probably June or July, but I do think they will open up. They are doing lots of medley and bits and pieces online. It's not my favorite thing, but the markets will open up because we need to see the fans. I do 20 countries a year still for 30 years without fail.
Yeah.
So I've missed that this year. So look out for that. There've been talks about a movie, Apache Indian biopic, Hollywood. So the film kind of goes to from England to Jamaica, where we record the album, then to India and to Japan, from Sly and Robbie to Asha Bosley. It's called From Handsworth to Jalandhar to Jamaica, right? From Jalandhar to Jamaica, right? So we've got lots of little plans. If I could work with 2 artists, Asian artists, no, Hollywood artists, I would love to work with Mariah Carey.
Right, yes.
I think she has a sensational voice. I think she's just incredible. Over the years, I've admired her. There's many, many artists, but you asked me to mention 1 or 2. And from the Punjabi industry, I have to tell you, Gurdas Man, right? Yeah. I've never met him. I've just, when you speak to people about him, everybody becomes his manager, right?
Yeah.
I love Gurdas Man. I think more people around the world should hear his voice. Is incredible lyrically. He's not like, I don't know, something about his voice is warm. It's always got a little message there. I would love to work with him. I would love to collaborate with Gurdas Man. He's on the list.
When you've worked with artists such as A.R. Rahman, Asha Bosley, Mariah Carey and Gurdas Man don't seem that far-fetched anymore. It's like, that's a lot plausible. Like, you could make it happen. So, you know what? We hope someone is listening to this.
There you go.
And make it happen. Let's make it happen, because that would be an incredible.
God's listening. Every time I want something to happen, I just say it. You have to say things that you want to happen. Wish people good things. I feel good. I want to win this. I want to win this race. So Mariah Carey, Gurdas Man, it's in God's hands. But it will happen.
Maybe even on one track. We could get both of them on one track, and you could do.
Oh, see, that's a good idea. I like that.
Remember my credits, my name's as credits.
That's right.
Thanks. Remember that. But Buddy, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you and talking to you, because it's such an inspiration. Because in Handsworth, we used to have, you remember Hector Pinky?
Yeah, Hector MBE. Hector. was the first person, black, if you guys don't know him, MBE, works in the front line of the community. He's the first person to put the mic in my hand.
Rosie, okay.
When I was 14, I used to live on Holly Road, and he used to come every Saturday morning to do roller discotheque on roller skates in the hands of the leisure centre.
Yep.
And I used to go over there, CB, Captain Boogie, they used to call him. And I used to go over there, and he goes, yeah, Indian, come on. I used to lift these boxes and carry speakers and whatever, and just Steve, the little box boy, little Indian. And eventually they give you a chance. What do you want to do? I said, boy, I would love to. And he gave me a chance, and that was a black guy back in the day, still working for the community, got MBE for services rendered from the Queen. That's what I'm saying, all this help. And we know we've got Cash the Flash.
Yes,
he does,
yes.
He does a lot for the community. He's got his 4 times world champion kickboxer.
Yeah.
And he has his own gym just there in Winston Green. So, that's another great community activist, and always running. Hector still runs. He's 60 odd years old. He goes running with the old age pensioners. Cash does 5 miles a day. We have some great people in hands with him, Birmingham, worked hard in Asian communities and otherwise. We've had musical youth, past the Dutchie on the left-hand side, number 1, that was from Birmingham. Steel Paul's from Birmingham. Market Singh lives in Birmingham.
Yep.
Jazzy B's in, all the Bhangra. I mean, Shin, DCS. I want to work with Shin. That's another one. Shin.
Yes.
Yeah. Shin, if you're listening, I know we started something, we didn't finish it, but he's a highly respected artist in my book.
Brilliant.
So much talent. Look what Birmingham has given, from Punjabi to reggae to mainstream pop. So many bands have come from Birmingham.
I think
we
Shin
should start.
we don't. We got connections to Sorrow.
Say it again.
I think Shin Budgie's got connections to Sorrow, so that could happen a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah, there we go. Shuk Shinda Shinda as well. Shuk Shinda Shinda, who did, he produced the Lutia.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I went to school with his brother. I used to go back to his house at dinner time, and Shuk Shinda Shinda used to be there, maybe 12 years old on the Dubla, 9 years old. That's how Amun Hare is from Birmingham, and I worked with him too. So I'm just saying, look at the talent and the culture that we have. I don't think that we celebrate that enough in Birmingham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where can you go to celebrate our music, our culture? The one Vasaki Day or the this or the that. There should be a place, should be a vibe in the air. There should be music on the radio, even the mainstream radio. There should be just, I mean, and you asked me, where does, wanting to help people come from? What is the main thing, like the Punjabi culture? Is seva.
Seva, yeah.
So that's where it comes from. Our culture, it comes from the culture. Seva kariye. Music is seva, giving people music, but then helping. I work with charities. I work with disabled people, with disabled families, and a charity called Include Me Too from Wolverhampton. Big up Palmy and all the people I work with Diabetes UK, because my son is diabetic type 1 since he's been 11 years old. So God bless him and all the people that deal with diabetes. And we work with homeless charities called St. Basil's, Christian charity based in Digbeth for years. So anything that helps young people. And obviously I'm based in a place of education. So there's our community. Let's work it together. It's an example for other communities to use the academy. The academy just doesn't help young people. Those young people then go and help the community. It's a nicer community. I go out to sponsors, and one sponsor from London gives me 3,000 bottles of water every year for the kids. East End Foods, I send them a shopping list. The food comes to the academy. Everyone's helping. And look at that, without asking for any money from funding. Put my own money in, but don't lean on any funding. In fact, help the police. We work with the police. We've just done some songs and awareness projects for the police against knife, against gun crime in Birmingham. 3 people got shot last week. Let's not ignore these things. And if you want to talk about our culture has a lot to do yet. We're not helping each other enough. It's always Oki Gaddi and Eki Gadda, and my son should be doing as good as him. And come on, we need to now support everyone. We have problems, with alcohol abuse. We have problems with drug abuse. Look what's happening in India right now with the farmers. There's a lot of things to discuss. Even Asian channels, the TV channels. How many do we have? UK, British, Asian channels. There's not one place you can go and sing a song. There's not one place a young person can go and play a tabla. My real talk show was a place where everyone used to come, BrizAsia, come and speak, Gore Kale, everyone. But it opened with a band. It gave a guy a chance, and it ended with a band. We don't have these things. So still, I'm saying to people, life is hard. It just got harder. We've got the platform to help each other. Let's use more of it. let's stop the hating and the jealousy and change certain things. And we will really move on because we have a strong culture and a strong nation. But a bit more support is good.
Fantastic. But you all, again, it's been a complete honor to catch up with yourselves, relive some memories, maybe, you know, just revisit Soho Road back in B21 days, like the
We'll do
olden
that,
days.
yeah.
But
Beautiful.
what's not to love? Your new album is out now.
Yeah.
Available on Spotify, Apple Music, all good music stores, online. Everyone listening to this, go check it out. It is an absolute banger. I've had the privilege to listen to a couple of tracks. I've absolutely loved it. I cannot wait to download the rest of the album legally, support the music, support the industry.
That's right.
Let's do it properly. But Baji, God bless you. We do Ardasa that you carry on like this. It's not just your music, but your community activism, everything you do. People like Hector, he was like a security guard at the library. He was my karate teacher. I learned more Punjabi off him. As
there
a
you go.
black man, I learned Punjabi off him more than I did from anyone else.
There
so
you go.
appreciate cultures. Let's continue with that because it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But
thank you very much.
It's been so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's been a special interview, and obviously, someone from Handsworth, Birmingham, I can't speak to people around the world about those things because you got the stories. You got the stories. And when I'm coming back, I'm coming to see you and the family. God bless you, and thank you very much.